And oh, what happened? Oh, okay, there it goes. See, I kind of freaked out, but that was my own fault. I clicked the wrong button. And we are live. Ultra Podcast Z episode 57 on this lovely March 8th Friday evening. It's not Tuesday. Um yeah, we're back bringing you the best of Japanese pop culture from the world to you. It's funny cuz
Yeet.
I had this big discussion about the rebranding of A to J. So I'm like, I wonder if I should keep saying that, but we'll talk about that later. By later, I mean not this podcast. I mean at a future date. Anyhow, as always, I am Manuel, host here, leader of AJ Connections, and almost as always, one of the most regular hosts, Konaru. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello and sawadee to all the Thai viewers that are hopefully going to join us tonight. My name is Konaru, also known as Smokey Katie. I do idol stuff. I recently got famous because I did a review for the BNK48 Girls Don't Cry. So yes, I am the one and only. Thank you. Yes, I will sign autographs later. I will be here next week as well. All that. But
It's
yes, I am the one and only. And it's very nice to be on tonight before I head out somewhere, which I will talk about later.
oh, you're heading out somewhere. Interesting. It's funny because I was the one who tweeted out the just to follow up that story a little bit. I was the one who tweeted out the article, and like I didn't know what like hashtags to use, even if I should. And so I'm surprised he saw it like right away too. I was like, oh, that was it was
Yeah,
like he was definitely the first like, and I think it was within like 5 or 10 minutes because it was my intention to put up several articles that were kind of in the backlog. They were nothing important, just several articles that were just floating around. And that was just the first because it was actually the simplest. You didn't include a ton of pictures. Some people include a crap ton of pictures. So I just
I'm trying. I'm aiming for my reviews to be short, sweet, and to the point. And I think this article success and everything has really proven it to be effective. So I'm gonna probably stick with that
yeah.
kind of short, sweet, to the point layout.
It was just so funny because it curtailed like all my stuff like for a while, and a lot of notifications all night.
Yeah, my phone was blowing up for like a good two
So thank
hours.
you for that.
Especially after I said that music was my favorite, was my BNK Oshi. Like, I think everyone in Thailand now knows that I'm a music Oshi.
I'm not gonna lie, music was actually like my Oshi before. I mean, we're really jumping ahead right now. We'll back up in a second, don't worry. But music used to be my Oshi before too, but that was because my experience was very limited. Like I
And
never,
that's because that's all who I would talk about whenever
yeah.
we brought up the question of BNK.
It
That
was
was the
usually
only member you knew off of me.
yeah, and then like I'd watch like I think prior to this I'd only watched prior to this equaling the documentary when it came out on Netflix. Um, Prior to that, I'd only seen like their some of the introduction clips, like the ones they would do for Senbatsu. So I'd watch those, and I saw like every one's of those. But I'm like, oh, music is cool. And then of course, music was picked for the AKB Senbatsu. Don't worry, we'll cover that in a second. So
Mhm.
so I was like, oh, So it was overexposure. But I have a different one, but I'll cover that later. Um, so yeah, we have a podcast tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to talk about, but look at the description below. If we have exact topics, I'll have them split up there with some timestamps. Somebody went and watched all of our Produce 48 podcasts the past few days, and like some of the early because we covered that. Don't worry, Konar. I see your side eye about me bringing it up. Um, I
I don't need toxicity in my life.
we we covered that from like day one. For those who don't know, Produce 48 is a collaborative show that was put on by Produce 101, which is a Korean, like think American Idol type thing, but you put a group together, and AKB48. So they did a collaborative thing, and we talked about it a lot. We actually covered it fairly regularly at the time. But it's funny because somebody went and watched all of our episodes where we covered it, but in some of the older ones, I wasn't using timestamps, and they watched them in order. So I gotta give them credit for that. Like somebody went through the effort to like to, they followed our story as we went on, but they watched them in order. And then they complained about the lack of the timestamps, and eventually just complained about our views in general because we didn't have very nice things to say about Produce 48. But
Who cares?
we do have nice things to say about BNK48 and the rest. But tonight's podcast, we're going to try to focus on the overseas 48 groups. I do want to have a huge focus on BNK, not just because like, oh, we might have scored a few new viewers because of us talking about the documentary. But if you remember, Konaru, even when we came up with the idea to do an overseas 48 group podcast, I think that was actually your idea. My idea was to do a BNK one.
Yeah.
Yeah, even before this is actually.
I want to discuss all the 48 groups because, like, I don't know, the Thai fans, I feel, they're so welcoming of, like, all the 48 groups, especially after the the Group Asia Festival. Like, I would look through tweets during that, and they were like, wow, like, all the overseas 48 groups are so amazing. We need to welcome them and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, like, the BNK Thai fans actually, like, you know, kind of inspired me to push for an all overseas 48 podcast, because I think all the groups are really nice. Even MNO48, if they had a rough start.
Yeah. If you
even if some are still currently in the process of auditioning, like some groups, but you know.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do all of them instead of BNK48. But if we do get enough like views and positive feedback, maybe we'll do like a BNK48 special, depending on circumstances.
Well, anyhow, on that note, yeah, so for the record, that actually was my idea. And then the documentary popped up, and it's like, let's watch this. But let's jump into the others first.
Definitely. Who's the first on our targeted list?
Well, really, really, really fast. For those who don't know, AKB48 is a gigantic, monster of a group. I actually don't have their logo. I don't think I have it like set up, but they're the giant monster of the world, I should say. And I do. And yeah, they're just probably the biggest, like, well, they're definitely the biggest idol group. I'll say like probably one of the biggest music empires in the world right now. And all you really need to know is that they're from Japan, and they decided several years ago. Oh, by the way, thanks everyone in the chat. Sorry, I actually meant to say that, and then I kind of lost track because I didn't want to interrupt Konaru. But we see all you in the chat. Hi to everyone. Hi, Luna Lovegood 1341. Hi, Pam. I can't read the rest of your name, not because it's hard to say, just because I suck at eyes. I suck at eyes. I suck at seeing. I suck at eyes. I suck at seeing like anyway, it's just I'm blind and it's too far from me. Anyway, it's a tiny font. But anyhow, chat is open. Feel free to interact with us. I'll probably, when the conversation dies down, I'll notice it a lot more. I tend to like keep an eye on that anyway. I usually announce that from the get-go, from the top of the show, that the chat is open. But feel free to chat there. Anyhow, so the first of these groups was JKT48. Now, for those of you who don't know, oh, your eyes. For those of you who don't know, JKT stands for Jakarta. There are Indonesian what's the word? Sister group, the first one. Now,
very first one.
They're an interesting one. Now, I don't know how any of our Thai viewers might feel on this, but I feel that their massive popularity, especially like online, it feels like we're going through that again with BNK. And don't worry, we'll come back to that. The reason go ahead.
Like with like JKT48, they started out like, well, of course they were the first one, so they got like a lot of praise from like everyone. Like the biggest song that they got popular off of was actually the song JKT48. If you know that one, just like BNK48, it talks about like all the cool landmarks and everything, and the city that they're based in. And apparently from an interview I read that the reason why JKT got so popular was because of that song, because it sounded just like their culture's like traditional music, which is pretty interesting considering like that they can hear like the similarities between like a J-pop song and like their traditional music. So cool on them. But yeah, they were popular for like a good amount of time, and then like they slowed down significantly.
Yeah.
After, I think it was after Melody graduated. I think so. Or before that, it was around the time like I think Melody announced graduation, which is my JKT Oshi, but she is, like I said, graduated sadly, and she's married. But Yeah, they started like a little slow decline, and then like right after Melody graduated and um she took over like the general management for JKT48, they started like this revival process. It's called yeah, it's literally called Revival is
Mm.
what their revival project is called. So they're trying to get themselves back up through like different little projects and everything. And so far it seems to be working. Like some of the new projects they have is they have their own esports team,
Oh yeah, I
which
saw
I
that.
think they yeah they did. I think they did participate in the Overwatch tournament that's going on soon. I think so. I'm not too sure, but I know they play Overwatch and they play a lot of Fortnite. Don't ask. I sometimes watch their
Oh
streams,
my god.
but yeah, no, JKT is really interesting. I followed them actually a lot when they first debuted. Like I was there from the Heavy Rotation album, and I've been there ever since. So it's pretty cool just to see like them progress and everything. And they hold a special place in my heart, especially with Melody. I love Melody a lot, but
It's worth noting that
she's very young.
they have some pretty interesting things to note because they did a lot of English versions of
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
of AKB48 songs. So that was pretty interesting at the time. I remember I was like, "Oh my god, there's an English version of like Koisudo Fortune Cookie." I remember there was definitely one for that. I can't remember if there were others.
there's
Well,
one
I mean,
for
there's definitely
there's one for
others.
Halloween Night,
Yeah.
Love Trip. I don't think Heavy Rotation got one.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember there
Everyday
wasn't one for FT.
Kashusha,
Yeah.
Ponytail the Choo Choo, and there's a lot of English songs. So
Yeah.
like as a English speaking fan, like that made me really really happy. Like you don't understand how happy I was. I was like, oh my god, they're singing in English because like I remember back in the day when AKB came to Anime NYC or not Anime NYC, but it was like another like
Yeah.
anime in New York. They sang Ogore Diamond in English, and that that took my heart. Like I was so happy when they did that. 'Cause it's like, oh my god, they're speaking my language. And then of course, like AKB has like their English speaking members. Like, oh, speaking of English speaking AKB members, there's a JKT member. I forgot her name, but she announced graduation and then she left. But anyways, there was a JKT, like an OG JKT member. She transferred to AKB48, and she was like the first like half Japanese, half Indonesian girl in AKB to get like fully transferred. And I thought that was pretty cool. I think she shares her birthday with me. I'm not too sure, but yeah, no, there's been like some transfers between like AKB and JKT, which
Another
is pretty cool.
another huge thing to note about them is they won the kids like was it Nick Choice? Teen Choice? I forgot what award that was.
It was the Kids Choice
Kids
Awards.
Choice. Oh, yeah.
They won two. They won two actually. So they won one for like the Indonesian Kids Choice Awards, and they performed there. And then they won another one that was the Kids Choice Awards here in the States.
Yeah. It was
But they
so
didn't perform
weird.
at that one. But
Yeah, it was just
yeah,
it
no, it
felt
was
out
so
of
weird.
nowhere. I was like, wait, what? JKT for and mind you, at the time, AKB48 was still a thing, and you would have thought, that in the U.S. that they would be the one to be nominated, and I believe the category was like best foreign group. I want to say off the top of my head.
I think so. It was like best foreign group or something for the stateside, and then I think for the Indonesian one, it
Yeah, it's probably
was
like obviously
best new
yeah,
group or something like that. But
and
it was funny because like okay, not gonna lie, I watched the Kids Choice Awards just so I can see them announce them. But
I
apparently
did.
it was done like how they
Yeah,
had like the commercials in between. It was done between that, so I was
it
like, wow,
was.
I wasted like 2 hours of my life just to watch nothing. And then I ended up watching like a little clip of them, of like these two Nickelodeon kids announcing them as the winner, and then they had like a cute little clip of them. I think they were speaking English actually,
Yeah.
talking about like thank you for the award and everything, and that was so cool. I don't know, I find that really cool when um foreign groups like that get recognized on the state sides, especially like doing stuff like in English, and yeah.
So
I don't know. JKT makes me really happy because they took a lot of big steps for like the first overseas 48 group.
the next one was actually my personal favorite, to be totally honest, if I may be so bold. The only one I ever really
What?
followed, on a regular basis was SNH48. Um,
Oh my god, they're not
Now,
even a thing anymore though.
they're still a thing, but we'll get to that.
Well,
So,
they're still a thing,
well,
but they're
so they're
they're not under the thing.
so the name stands for Shanghai 48. Now they debuted and they did they did a lot of the AKB48 cover songs like every group does. Um, but towards the end, I think they were with them for about 2 years. Towards the end, they announced that they were gonna have two sister groups of their own. Um, one was for Guangzhou, and the other one was I don't remember. Oh, Beijing, Beijing, it was Beijing and Guangzhou.
Beijing.
Yeah, it was Beijing and Guangzhou 48 respectively. And they also before this announcement, they had done several. I think there was two for sure, but I think there was actually three or four new original songs for mobile games. Actually, I think three were for mobile games. One was for drama, if I'm not mistaken. So they were doing original songs. Apparently, it's funny because there's still a lot of hearsay here. I don't think people have really translated too much of the Chinese statements. But if you go to the Japanese side, they dropped them. I think the official word was because there was some differences of like the direction. But apparently, the Chinese side was a lot more open about why they left them. It was because they were trying, like, I guess they didn't want to be the cover group, the Chinese cover group of AKB48, and they wanted to.
Which, to be honest, that's pretty bold, especially because, like, we know most of the other overseas group is doing, like, just cover songs of the other 48 groups. And I don't know, I kind of do respect SNH48 in that aspect that they wanted to do originals and they pushed really hard to the point where they basically just separated from the 48 franchise just to do originals. So, like, good on them.
So,
Yes.
They're technically not part of the 48 groups. It's funny because they actually did this as their Senbatsu was happening. So like their Senbatsu song, and I think that was actually part of the issue too, because they already announced the song. It was also going to be an original song, and while the others were collaborations with like these commercials and whatever the heck, this song was going to be released as a single, like their next huge single. And it was all like, "Hey, that's not our cover. That's your own song." I was like, "What the heck?" And that was an amazing song, amazing video. Technically, it was their first. That wasn't is the one where they had the CG whale in the sky. It was so weird. But anyway, so we'll come back to Shanghai, not with SNH though. We'll come back to Shanghai though. So real fast, because we're actually gonna like leave this for a second, because we'll come back. Actually, no, we'll just tell us the story all at once, so we don't get too confused. So they announced TPE48 a long time ago. Like I don't even know when.
Like it was right after JKT like had massive success and everything. So Aki P was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna cash in on the overseas, and I'm gonna do TPE48."
So
TPE48 was like announced. I forget when it was announced. It was announced at a concert. I know that. I just forgot when. But they announced it, and nothing happened for like a solid 6-7 years.
Yeah, real
maybe?
fast though. TPE, for those who don't get the terminology there, stands for Taipei, which is of course the capital of Taiwan. But yeah, they announced it, and actually things did happen. They did, I think, they definitely did one audition. I think they did two auditions. They did auditions. Like there's footage of that. There's
right,
pictures. Yeah. I don't think they. Well, I'm sure somebody passed, but nothing ever happened to them. They didn't produce any content. There was never a promo video. They just passed several girls, and then not passed. They were like, oh yeah, auditions are concluded. We'll announce everything soon, and they just never announced anything. And they're like, oh, we're doing another one, and then nothing ever happened. But then, 20.
Sometime later,
2016 at some time, I don't know exactly when, they announced BNK, which we're going to come to in a second, BNK, TPE, and MNL relatively around the same time. I think it was actually at the exact same time, but relatively around the same time.
No, it was at the exact same time because I remember, I don't know what concert it was at, but they announced it like all in one video. Like, so they had like a cute little globe, and they would just go like from city to city and everything, and announce a new group. And I was like, oh, okay. That's cool.
So
how you do that?
So they revived it again. It's like, oh, I guess it's actually happening this time. This time they did the auditions. Okay, actually, let me rephrase that. This time they did a small audition. I think they passed two girls, because I remember those two girls were using everything. They filmed a promo video using the Japanese version of Aitakata, and then they did a big audition, and then someone ran out of money.
yeah, someone in their management basically ran out of money, and they had to stop like all activities and everything, and they had to go under new management. Because I remember at the time, they made like Instagrams for their members, and I would constantly follow all the members. Who was my favorite member? I can't remember her name right now, but she was super cute and everything, and I would follow her. And they were doing this thing called like TPE 48 Farm or Village. No, TPE 48 Village. And it was basically them go on a farm and everything, just like doing farm stuff. And I was quite confused, like, why are they doing farm stuff? Shouldn't they be training? What are they doing? And then, not even a few months later, our company's bankrupt.
No, and I remember I contacted, because I spent a month in Taiwan while, like, this was totally coincidental. I spent a month in Taiwan while their audition process was like nearing its end. And I was like, hey, can we interview, like, I forgot their names already off the top of my head, but can we interview the two girls who representatives? They already had, I think they already had somebody assigned to them who was coming from Japan. I forget I forget who that was. And I was like, can we interview them? And can we also interview some of the hopefuls? All this other, we'll do a whole video. And then they never got back to us. But probably for the best, because we probably would have got back, we would have finished it, and they were announcing. But we'll come back to them again because that kind of does tie in. And I want to talk a lot about BNK48 because there's a lot of parallels here with some of the stuff. Not to say they are bankrupt, but parallels with everything we've talked about. So BNK48.
This is the one y'all probably have been waiting for.
Now, don't worry though. Some of you, like, I'm pretty sure because the tags on YouTube will say MNL, and MNL also, and JKT also will bring in a lot of viewers. So, everyone, I don't know if you guys are watching all the way to BNK. If you only came for JKT and you yeeted out once we were done. But everyone, if you got everyone, like go like comment which group you actually like watched, and if you're watching on YouTube, because we do upload these to YouTube later on. But anyways,
and tell us your overseas 48 Oshi for each group. It has to be each group. You have to have one.
Yeah, I didn't have one for JKT. I guess I would say Melody, but that's kind of a boring one. The same way I would have said music. Yeah, but my Oshi for SNH48 was Ju Jingyi, who has long since left, but she was also like really famous. As in her own right, she did a lot of dramas, and she actually was in like the biggest drama in Taiwan last year. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was one of the many period pieces that they always do. But anyway, so BNK48, Bangkok 48.
I remember my TPE Oshi. Well, she's technically Team TP. So I'll talk about her later then. Just kidding.
So anyhow, BNK48. So they announced it at the same time, and I'll admit, I didn't follow them as much because the MNL thing I found more interesting, and I don't want to meld the two together, but I found their process more interesting, and the TPE, to be totally honest. TPE was my, because A to J has a couple Taiwanese members, and we do have like a presence in Taiwan, so at the time, it was very easy to follow TPE. So I was following them a lot, and MNL was kind of becoming very quickly a hot mess. A
meme.
Yes, like
a meme. So MNL was a meme. It's literally meme.
So imagine this: straight ahead we have BNK, on the left we have TPE, and on the right we have MNL. So TPE is quietly chugging along. We think they're doing fine, but they have problems. MNL on this side is having problems, but as we'll get to that in a second. But it's like the opposite there. Meanwhile, in the middle, BNK48 was had their shit together. Like, don't get me wrong, the stuff in the documentary I thought was very interesting to note. But so they had their stuff together, set up pretty well. They came out with their debut Aitakata really fast enough that fast enough to be totally honest. I didn't even realize it came out. I saw that MB for the first time, like last week. I thought Koisudo Fortune Cookie was their debut, because that was.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because
you're disgusting.
Because that was the first thing I. Okay, full disclosure, I'm definitely a fan. I'm definitely you can't say that. I'm definitely interested in learning more.
You didn't even know Aitakata was their first single.
Well, I know this now. I knew this before the podcast.
And it's funny. And it's funny that you mentioned that because Koisudo Fortune Cookie was the thing that like that made them take off and become like a national household name.
So I want to talk a bit about the documentary real fast before we actually address the whole thing later
Oh
on.
yeah, Girls Don't Cry.
So yeah,
I cried.
so first of all, this is a documentary on Netflix called Girls Don't Cry. For those of you tuning in, please check it out. Depending on where
Super
you're
good.
located in the world, it should be available if you VPN it. But otherwise, it should be available somehow. On Netflix, it is subtitled, so you can watch it if you're an English speaker. But there's something I want to mention about the audition process. The audition process, sorry, about the story. Like, I thought what's interesting is that before apparently Koresudo Fortune Cookie came out, and I don't think they were being dramatic for the point of being, I don't think they were trying to be dramatic. Like, why lie about this stuff? But I just like when they were talking about when they first heard the song, like some of the girls heard Koresudo Fortune Cookie, they're like, what? Who would like a song about a cookie? All this other stuff, and I was like, oh my god! And
and then before that,
oh, they were going. They apparently
parallel to TPE 48. They were having like
money issues.
Money before Koresudo Fortune Cookie, and they were wondering if the group would even survive because like management was like struggling, and then they proposed like Koresudo Fortune Cookie for like their second single, and everyone was like, "What? Who likes this? No one's gonna like this." And then, bam!
No, because it's
household name in all of Thailand after Koresudo Fortune Cookie. The irony of it all, I swear. But it's such a good like sweet taste in your mouth when you think about it, because like. Yeah, I don't know. It's very satisfying for me. I don't know.
That song's really iconic for AKB48 themselves, even. But it's iconic for all the groups to perform it too. I think so. There's the English version from JKT. There's of course, Indonesian version from JKT. SNH did it. Everyone's done it. I think yeah, everyone's pretty much done it since. But I just find it interesting that it was like. Probably not literally, because I think they have had higher selling singles, but it was definitely like, it was like the national hit. It was like the hit that like, you know, and fun fact that I mentioned before is that we have some friends like who appear in the fan version of the AKB Koresudo Fortune Cookie one where they're doing the dance. And I'm like, the dance is iconic, the song is iconic, getting everyone involved in it is iconic. Like, I noticed that BNK also did a staff version. But but anyhow, let's back up a little and talk a bit more about BNK though. Like I just wanted to preface who they are and how they're huge.
Talk more about Girls Don't Cry though. So
yeah,
don't worry,
exactly.
I'm talking about it. So let's get BNK as generally out of the way first.
Okay,
we just dove into Girls Don't Cry.
Okay, so before we jump into Girls Don't, or we can jump into it now, or we talk a bit more about BNK up to today.
We're gonna talk more about like just general BNK before we go back onto Girls Don't Cry.
So the next single, which I'll be honest, I actually didn't know about either. I saw that video recently. Yeah, the Shonichi one. It's funny. I don't know what it's called. By the way, I don't know what these songs are called.
That's so iconic. It's my favorite one so far, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what these. I think they still call them that. They still officially translate them to the Japanese titles. I don't know exactly what their.
They do. They do translate them, but they keep. They translate them, but they keep the Japanese like pronunciation and everything. And
also for the sake of any mistakes I'll make eventually, especially start naming names, I'm gonna mispronounce things. I apologize in advance.
I'm not, because I'm a true fan. I love Shaprang. I love music. I love Poon. I love Korn. Hit me up with any BNK girl, I'll probably love them. Unlike some people.
Damn. So, anyways, I thought it was interesting though, because that's not a single, right? That's not It's not an AKB48 single. It's a song from a single, but it's not a single. So that was an interesting move.
No, it's a song from a stage.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So yeah, my point is, that was interesting. I'm like, so that's almost borderline an original song. Because as far as I could think off the top of my head, none of the other groups have taken a non-single song as a single. So at least definitely up to that point. I don't know about since, because I haven't really kept up with some of the newer groups.
No, you're right. The only JKT has done like HKT, SKE, NMB song.
Yeah.
But that's as far as it's gone.
To do a stage song,
also Team 8, or not Team 8, BNK did a Team 8 song, Yume and Route.
Oh, you're right.
For, I think Kimi wa Melody? Yeah, for their Kimi wa Melody, EP or whatever.
So speaking of Kimi wa Melody, that was their because I think after Shonichi is when they brought in second gen, right? Or was that before Shonichi? But definitely, I didn't really jump in until Kimiwa Melody. Um,
Fake fan.
no, full disclosure, I was aware of them. Obviously, I knew of course the Fortune Cookie, but mind you,
I always talk about BNK whenever I can on the podcast because I don't know, they're so unique. I love them. I really want to go to Bangkok one day and just go to like a campus live and go see them and all that. Maybe get press and take some pics. But
so,
yeah, no, I talk about BNK. If he asks Manuel, I talk about them like all the time. And
she really does.
Surprisingly enough, the only member he knew was music for like a long time because that's all I would talk about. I would just talk about music a lot because I just love her so much. She's so good.
Even though I always mispronounce her name, like I think until today, and I'm probably still gonna mispronounce it. Sherprong is the other one I knew for obvious reasons because she's like the face of the group in general.
She's like the ace.
But I will say this though, my exposure to them was circa Corsudo Fortune Cookie, like right before it came out, and I was always intrigued by their names, and that sounds odd, but like that's like an odd thing to say. That's like an odd thing to say, but because they had nicknames, and most of the nicknames, some of them obviously like Shiprong, for example. Is that even a nickname? I think it's her name. But some of the nicknames were just very easy to pronounce, like music, like, or not just to pronounce, not even just to pronounce, but also to remember, like music, corn,
mobile.
Oh, mobile, yeah. Like, even though I think she was the first to leave Kit Kat, which I always
yeah, Kit Kat.
Which I always wondered, was that meant to be Kit Kat, like a kid and cat, or was that like
I think it was Kit Kat. If any of our Thai viewers want to confirm like the pronunciation, I'm not too sure. I called her Kit Kat.
Yeah,
like
I thought it was Kit Kat. Was for it wasn't until
hopefully people just know what the heck we're talking about.
But it wasn't until I saw it written down that I was like, oh, it's Kid Kat. But
Kit Kat?
Wow, really? It's 3. I think Atta has
30,000?
Oh, 30,000. Sorry, I can't read. I can't read. Sorry. No, I realized there's X's. I was trying to count the X's.
He put a little space for convenience.
He did, and I'm just blind. I'm sorry. It's like I have the night mode on, and night mode usually was good when it's in front of my face, but I'm just blind. Anyway, but yeah, I love their names, their nicknames, because they're so easy to remember. I don't know if this works the same way for the Thai fans. I'm sure it does, but like especially for an overseas fan, even like ones that confuse me like Kit Kat. It's like I'm gonna remember Kit Kat over an AKB48 member probably whose name is just as foreign to me, to be totally fair. It's Japanese, it's just as foreign to me to remember.
That's the one thing I really like about BNK48. Most of the 48 overseas groups too is that like, even if like they're in their native, like even though they have like their native names and everything, they try to have like a nickname that's super easy to remember for both languages. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because like, especially with like JKT, MNL, and BNK, like I find myself remembering their names more than like TPE or like SNH and all that.
Well, yeah, TPE and SNH especially, some Chinese names are not friendly, because first of all, I can tell you right now that every name you're mispronouncing right off the bat because there's tones involved that you probably are not aware of, including myself. Not saying
I feel really self-conscious when I'm pronouncing like their native names and everything, so I'm just like, oh, I hope they have a nickname I can pronounce.
But other groups haven't really adopted that as much. Like, don't get me wrong, like, for even AKB48, like, you get, like, Takahashi Minami is Takamina. But they would still call her Takahashi Minami in most official things. But, like, most of the time when I saw Music, like, I don't even know what Music's real name is. I just know her as Music because I've never seen it.
I can't pronounce it, but I know it. Like, if I see it, like, in an article or whatever, or, like, written out, I'm like, oh, that's Music.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it, so I'm sorry, Thai fans. I want to pronounce her name one day.
I mean, pronunciations are relative. I'm pretty sure, like, I've had so many people, like, my name's Manuel. I've had so many people, like, not know how to pronounce my name, which just it's what it is. Languages are a weird thing, but anyways, moving back to Kimi wa Melody, I love the song Kimi wa Melody. That song,
Oh yeah.
that song when it came out for AKB48, kind of got me back into AKB48. Now, if anyone has ever seen the original video, or I guess heard it too, because I guess they're on the track. One of the things about that song was it got some of the older members who had graduated, and they were rejoining like the newer members who were the current top AKB members. So the song has a very nostalgic feel to it, and it was meant to reference obviously the Heavy Rotation video. It's like all this other like nostalgia trip. So I love the song, and then BNK did it, and their video, like, I actually kind of hate to say this because I actually really, 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 really love the AKB version, but even when I can't really recall, because the melody is the same, but even when I can't recall, like, how like the Thai lyrics would sound, obviously I don't know, what they are exactly because I don't speak Thai. I don't speak Japanese either, for the record. But even when I'm picturing the Japanese version in my head, or even hearing it to be more accurate, when I'm hearing the Japanese version, I'm picturing the BNK video for some reason, and I'm like, that video has kind of become more iconic.
It's a good video.
It's really good.
So,
Like I said, I saw
like,
the production value.
oh yeah, can we talk about like BNK's production value? Because it's insane compared to like the other, compared to even some of the 48 Japanese 48 sister groups.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, the effects and like the quality they put into like everything, even if it's just like a little promo video, like they go ham and go so hard on it. And I don't know, that's another thing just I love about BNK48 is that like the production quality is so good, especially compared to like the Japanese sister groups, who have not been doing too well in production wise, in my opinion at least.
Wait, is there somebody nicknamed Donut? Is there a donut?
What? Is there a donut?
Is there a donut? Sorry, I'm not quite sure because somebody said next director will me.
Okay,
her nickname is Donut.
BNK48 donut.
I
Oh no, there isn't. No, I'm sad.
I want somebody named Donut. Like I love donuts.
I'll go to BNK48 and I'll be donut.
Now, fun fact, the corn, I don't know if I don't know if it was intentional, or maybe one of the Thai fans would help me with this. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it's spelled with the K, and when you spell corn with the K, you pretty much refer not to corn as in like, the thing you eat, but you refer to corn as in the band. Like, I don't even know what to call them, like the metal band Korn. I think they're on tour again right now or something like that.
Oh my god, Korn's on tour. I'm gonna go see
I know, exactly. But it's so funny because it's like I love some of these names. Like her name is Korn, but not Korn, but with a K. And once again, that could
there's one girl named Cake, and she's my favorite.
Oh, Cake! Yeah, she's second gen. She's second gen, right?
Because her name is Cake, and I really like Cake.
No, I think she's second gen because I was like, some of these people I only know via a name and maybe their 30-second or whatever, how many seconds they give them in some of those those introduction videos for Senbatsu. But anyhow, their most recent single is Beginner. It came out just days ago, like about a week ago. I think it came out like around the same time that the documentary dropped on Netflix too, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah, no, like I remember I stayed up actually one night because I wanted to watch like their press conference for like every because they did their Senbatsu So Senkyo, and then that's how they picked like the lineup for Beginner and all that. So I watched their press conference. By the way, they do a lot of like Facebook and like YouTube lives, which is very nice and refreshing. By the way, because like I don't know, with like AKB48, the only like YouTube thing we'll get is maybe like a little web series or like Senbatsu So Senkyo, and that's it. But with BNK48, they are very accessible, especially compared to the Japanese sister groups. Like I said, like the effort that staff puts into BNK48, I'm living for it because they're super accessible, and I like showing people who are fans of like Japanese idol groups are like they want something a little more like unique. I'm like, BNK48 is what you need.
Well,
But no, that's another thing too. Is I think going back to what I was saying, I was watching their press conference for Beginner, and um, the each of the Senbatsu groups, like Undergirls, Next Girls, etc., they did performances. I think it was Next Girls. They did Kimi no Koto ga Suki Dakara, and then they did Beginner. And it was so good. It was so good seeing it live, and then they premiered the music video and everything, and it was really good. I really liked the music video. At least it's not like censored like some other 48 group.
Now, yeah, if anyone has never seen the original video for Beginner, which I don't think you can even watch on YouTube uncensored, like I think it was only on their like DVD singles or whatever the heck they would release back then. The original one involved just real fast. This is like get over the plot real fast. Like they're like in a VR kind of like they're playing a game. They're actually playing something that's very much like a PSP. But they're in a game world where they're all dying, and they're dying in very graphic ways. Like, you know, one of the members, this scene is iconic. I'll never forget this. One of the members gets like cut from her mouth, like the top part, the mouth up gets like left behind, and the bottom part of her body just falls to the floor. That scene then, will always stay with me.
Someone gets stabbed, and then someone gets stabbed.
There's blood.
Someone's head, and I don't know. It's a very like gory music video if you think about it. But yeah, it was definitely not safe for like all audiences. So, like their music association was like, oh, you can't put that on TV. We're not gonna put that like on MTV Japan and all that, and you can't sell it. So they were like, oh, okay, guess we gotta make a different one. But they eventually released it as like a exclusive.
Yeah.
I think it's a code. I forgot how they distributed it. But they definitely released it later on, and seeing it, yeah, it was definitely not safe for everyone.
But the BNK one is a lot different. Like, it doesn't involve, like...
the BNK one, it was like a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a cinematic masterpiece.
Which is it Koizuru Fuchikuki that had the movie version that was super long Is that the one? There's one that's like almost an hour, I think. I remember which one it is. I mean, no, the BNK one, not the...
Oh, Flying Get.
The BNK. Oh wait, which one about the BNK one? Which is the one that has like
BNK?
They have
no.
They have
I thought you were talking about AKB that had like an hour-long like music video. I think that was.
Oh, Flying Get.
I think that was Flying Get.
But anyhow, I'm getting confused there. Somebody let me know if there is any movie versions for BNK. But let's talk. Let's now that we're kind of caught up, let's back up and talk about Girls Don't Cry. Now I'm gonna forget about this. I'm gonna jump in with this first. I want to jump.
Hey.
What?
Real quick, guess who tweeted about us?
Who did?
The director. Again.
What did he say?
He's telling everyone to check out our podcast. So.
Oh my God! So that's when the viewers jumped up.
if anyone's joining us, Sariha, thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about Girls Don't Cry now.
Yeah, that was actually very timely. Like we didn't just pretend. We actually told, because we always like to do our podcast where, like, if somebody's watching us on YouTube, just stumbles upon us on Twitch, so that we inform people. But I didn't think, as chance would have it, we're actually going to talk about the movie real fast. Now, I don't know where to. Okay, I know exactly where to start with this. So there are a lot of idol documentaries out there. There's actually another one on Netflix, but I don't care too much for. Now, what I loved about this one. And mind you, there are a few others like this. AKB48 has produced some others, but I don't think they're as like they're not quite like this. But anyways, this one focuses on the idols, which is pretty much what you should do anyway. But
you know, sensationalism.
Yes. Now, it always bothers me how every other idol documentary, well, not every other, there's actually a couple other good ones we'll mention in a second, but a lot of them focus on the darker aspects. Now, I understand...
And then they focus on the fans, too. Like, the dark aspect of the fans and industry. Like, They try to paint not only the industry as dark, but also the fans as dark. And, like, that's not okay.
And now that I'm talking about, like, I just said, yeah, the dark elements. I'm not saying that there really is any big dark element to this. That's what I'm getting at. They'll find something to zero in on and basically focus on that. Now... what always bothered me when they focus on the fans, and don't worry, we're not going to focus too much on that, but I just want to get it out there. Obviously, we're all fans here. If you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you're fans. Me and Konaro are fans. What bothers me is that when you go to any fandom, it doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna find a few, people who.
You're gonna find a few nut jobs.
Yes, and what always shocks me about some of the not so savory, we'll say that, fans that they usually pick for these documentaries, for to talk about idols, a lot of them aren't even. I don't want to say they're that, like, somebody's gonna point out and like misquote me. But a lot of these examples aren't even that bad. They'll just pick they'll pick a conversation that they had with them that could be miscued. They'll put some creepy music behind it, and have a narrator say like, "Oh, this older guy is a fan of younger girls or whatever," and then they'll just leave it at that.
Or my favorite thing I like hearing, he spends over $1,000 each month. Dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun dun.
and I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that represents anything. Also,
because like, let's be real. Let's compare it to like something here in the West. So some girl spends maybe like $1,000 on makeup each month. Can we do the same thing and put dark music behind it? No, because apparently that's a normal, okay thing in our society to do. But if someone else is doing the same content but with just a different, like, kind of product, it's considered dark.
So anyhow,
calling you out,
yeah,
Westerners.
Now there's if you guys go on Netflix, I don't want to recommend it, but there is another documentary. It's very funny because it's called, I want to say it's called Japanese Idol. I forget the exact title. It doesn't matter. Don't watch it. But it focuses a lot on an idol named Hiiragi Ryo, who, funny enough, is an idol we've interviewed like many years ago. And it focuses on her and a lot of her fans. And I'm just like, it just paints a really dark picture. We did a whole video, which I'll link below, where we called out this other guy called the RPG Monger, who did this video exposing the idol industry. And
you can watch me be a little more harsh in my words than versus what I said in my review, which hopefully those who are watching right now have already read it. I was not so much like as harsh as I was, as I usually am, but if you go back to our RPG Monger, you can hear me say a lot of harsh things about it, because let's be real, as a female fan who is also coming from the idol, like, I guess, industry in a way. I'm more of since I'm overseas, we don't really have like a industry, well, more Western overseas, we don't really have like an industry for like idols like BNK48. But as someone who is coming from like an overseas Western idol community, and as a female person, I don't know, there's a lot of things that like our society does not understand. Most Americans, they thrive off sensationalism. We'll get real now. Like things like BuzzFeed and all that, that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
They do clickbait, they do sensationalism, and it's really toxic towards any community. It doesn't, even if it's BNK48 idols or something that's not from our country, we tend to like paint it in a bad picture because it's not something we're used to. And it's really bad, and like it hurts me in a way because not a lot of people are going to look at it and look at me, look at my friends, be like, wow, you're into little girls, you must be creepy. And then it's hard to explain like all that when they've already had like a very shadowed view. So yeah, I don't know, I'm really sad now.
Oh my god.
It's hard.
So let's back up and talk about how great this movie is anyway. So this movie does a much...
Yeah, let's leave all that sad stuff behind and talk about how great this movie is.
So
Girls Don't Cry. I hope. And just to reiterate again, Sadiha, everyone, thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us from the director's Twitter posts, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
We're going to be talking about Girls Don't Cry right now.
Yeah, I'm Manuel, this is Konaru. Feel free to chat with us in our chat. We'll read it and comment as we can. But anyhow, so the documentary documents up to their first 3 singles, right before the second gen joins, and it goes all the way from their first auditions, you know, forward. And there's obviously archival footage, but there's a lot of stuff that's most of it's done through like firsthand interviews. Now, this is interesting to note because a lot of these girls. Obviously, I seen some of them, and obviously many of them I knew, but this was the first time that I really was able to properly put, you know, I guess say a face to a name. No, I knew most of them like that. No, I wouldn't say that far, but it's the first time I got to properly put an identity to them, like you know, personality. That's the better way to put it. Um,
Hmm.
like,
Which is a big topic that they do discuss too, is identity and characters.
is it Nink? Is Nink anyone's favorite? Because I got the vibe that she isn't, but she's like my favorite after watching that, and it's so random. I don't know why. Um, I,
I really grew liking Tapoon after watching it, especially because like I didn't know this before, but she was in like a K-pop group
I know that was
before being K48, so she had experience in dance, and like it made me so sad that she didn't make like the first few Senbatsu lineups, and then she's a really good dancer, and I didn't realize it until like I started watching the documentary. Then I went back to like some performance video of her, and I was like, wow, she's really talented. Like, and now I started following Poon along with Chapang and music. So if you're a Poon fan, love y'all.
I thought it was interesting to note that like I didn't because it's funny because this is the way I felt with them too. Like it's not that I didn't or wasn't aware of them. I wasn't totally cognizant of them doing music until Course to Do Fortune Cookie. So it was interesting to know how the documentary kind of pointed that out too. Now, on an interesting note, I'm not sure how similar like you know the fandoms are in Japan because there's a lot of similarities that I was not expecting. I actually it sounds obvious when you got any idol group that you're gonna have the favorites, but like the Oshi culture took like it seemed to have just been like jumped on. Are there anyone in the chat there? Is there anyone any other idol groups like this? I'm kind of interested, like in Thailand in general. I don't know much about
I
you
know
know.
they have in Thailand. They have Siam Dream. I don't know if anyone knows Siam Dream. And then they also have no, that's it. I think that's the only like Sweat 16. I like Sweat 16 too.
Because I just found it
Those are
interesting.
I think those are the two like other major idol groups in Thailand. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there's Siam Dream and Sweat 16.
Because it's just interesting to note that like it took like they took to it really well. Now I want to talk about
Hmm.
a few interesting notes that I thought that hit me right away because the documentary starts with you know people talking about what they gave up and things like that. Um, I was not aware that they were so open with a dating ban. Um, that shocked
I
me.
thought all the groups were.
No, I mean, well, they're not because let's not forget that whenever Aki P, he's the producer for AKB48, talks about the
Hmm.
dating ban, he claims it doesn't exist. Um, but there's actually it's kind of glanced over. I don't know if anyone else even really noticed it too much or
I
cared.
noticed it.
But yeah, because they didn't dwell on it. It was just a segment where I can't. Gosh, I don't remember which member it was. I should have wrote it down. Um,
It was Shop. I think I know who you're talking about. Shopang. She
was it her? She had a boyfriend because somebody had a. It was
Yeah,
yeah.
Shopang. So she talked about like before going into being K48, she had a boyfriend, and then once she got accepted in, she was like, oh, I have to choose between this once in a lifetime opportunity and a relationship, and she was like, I'm not gonna waste my life and waste an opportunity like this. I'm gonna go straight forward and be serious. So she broke up with her boyfriend she sacrificed having a boyfriend and everything to being K48, and I don't know. Personally, I find that very admirable.
So do
To
I, and
you know,
I don't want to be
do
misconstrued
your
here,
own
but yeah.
thing, do what you feel is right. Like that's a super like important lesson. Like do what you feel is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be like misquoted. People think like, oh, she should have been allowed to date. Like I said, that is a very huge thing in idol culture. It's just one of those things that I didn't think would necessarily not so much carry over, but to be honest, be discussed. That was the most shocking part that was included at all.
And to be honest, I'm surprised it was discussed so briefly.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, it's such a, like a not even so much like a big deal. Like everyone talk about this, but for I don't want to call it a character, an arc for a person. Doesn't matter if it's obviously it's her real life, but it's like the arc that made her what what it is, who she is, and I'm like, oh, that was just it was interesting to know. Also, I even though obviously I mentioned watching the Senbatsu videos, like the promo ones, I didn't realize that Senbatsu was more of a popularity. Okay, it's always popularity contests, but it was like them on Facebook, follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram. Like their posts, like their YouTube videos. I guess I wasn't expecting so much of that. Um,
Yeah, no, they were really active, like on all social media, like especially Facebook, because like I know AKB is recently, like very very recently, just gone onto like Facebook and all that, but none of like the Japanese 48 sister groups have like a face like their members have like Facebook accounts like the like MNL and BNK and even SGO. So I was like really surprised at how like active they were on social media that wasn't Twitter and wasn't Instagram. So yeah, that's really cool about that. Like BNK is just so rounded in everything.
it's
They don't miss out on anything. They include as much as they can.
like it's obviously like most people have like Instagrams these days. Instagram is really huge, but having a Facebook and
Mhm.
having Instagram very active. Like for example, a lot of idols in Japan don't have don't have Instagrams. Maybe when they graduate, maybe when they go solo, or maybe some of the really big idols in their own right. But most of them, maybe the label, the group will have one, but Instagram is like not really a thing they have, and that's so crazy. When I actually didn't know that, believe it or not. To be fair, for those of you who aren't too familiar with the way social media is kind of viewed in the West, by the West I mean the U.S., the West. Um, Facebook is kind of considered like, oh, that's what the older people use, and Instagram's like what the younger people use. There's obviously a hell of a lot more to it than that. But I'm
No, so
definitely
here's how it is. So like Facebook is viewed as like the yeah, like the old thing. Like people that was like the first kind of like big social media for the West. And then along came like Twitter and everyone was like on Twitter and then Instagram came along and everyone started using Instagram. So Facebook and Twitter kind of came kind of obsolete, but Twitter is more for like the political side of everything if I want to put it that way. And then Instagram's just like the carefree social media,
so
gonna promote whatever I can and be cute and beautiful and all that. And yeah,
so it's crazy.
that's the best way to like put it. Twitter is like the political side, Instagram is more carefree, and Facebook's just for old people.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that. So I'm a bit older. I'm not that old, but I'm a bit older. I'm older than Konaru, so I tend to gravitate more towards Facebook. I don't use Instagram that much, which is why I definitely wasn't aware of it. But I wasn't aware that I think all the members. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think all the members have their personal Instagrams, which is interesting to note. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had their own personal Instagrams. And another cool thing about BNK48 is that they have like their own app, which I recently got into.
Oh, I didn't know this.
BNK48. Yeah, they have a BNK48 app, so all the members can like go live and everything on the app. And oh my god, why does Kami have a doggo? Kami has a doggo.
Oh my
In her
god.
picture.
It's
Just like when music had the little hamster.
it's like a meme. You could just make that into a meme right away.
Yeah, like.
But
But yeah, no, they go live on here from time to time, and music's not scheduled. I'm sad. But yeah, no, they go live, and then they have like their Starkeeper game gonna come out soon, so I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I like using their app too. So like BNK48 is really well rounded. They have their own app. They're on all social media. They really use YouTube to their ability, and they're just very very accessible. And I really commend like BNK48 for
speaking of
being
accessibility,
like, yeah, exactly.
speaking of accessibility, it's interesting to note that AKB48 have done several documentaries, and I think some of the sister groups have as well,
Hmm.
in a somewhat similar style. So they've done several documentaries, but I don't think. Yeah, actually, I want to say that some of them were on Hulu at some point, but I don't think any of them have been released like on Netflix. So that was a pretty, and especially not like so right off the bat. I know this
Hmm.
movie I think had a theatrical release some point last year, Um, but it just I was just shocked to see it on Netflix so readily available. Um, and there's a few friends of mine who'd already seen it before, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't. It was a news to me until you told me about it, Konaru. Hi. Oh, I can't see your name at all, but it's in a blue font I can't
Hello,
read.
little baby Casper. No, I saw it was going to be released, but because I was on Facebook one night scrolling through, and I follow like a couple of Peruvian AKB fan pages
Hmm.
because I kind of read some Spanish. So then I was scrolling down, I was like, BNK48, Girls Don't Cry is going to be released for Taiwan, Indonesia, US, and Philippines. And I was like, what? Oh my god! What the heck? And I was right away went to like Netflix to see if it was available, and it wasn't. I was like, oh my god, no, they lied to me. And then I saw, and after a little bit more research, I was like, oh, okay, it's available, but like not available. So then I waited till like 2 in the morning. Not kidding. I watched it the second I pressed play and I watched it the minute it came out because I was so excited for it. I've been hearing so many good things about it, and I just wanted to experience it for myself. And then after watching it, it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was like, oh my god, this is the best idol documentary I've ever seen. This was so worth staying up until very, very, very late. And I screwed up my sleep schedule, but it's okay. It was a really great doc, and it was so worth it.
So let's talk about some of the girls besides music. Like I said, like I discovered Nink through there, because obviously I didn't discover. I knew who she was, but I didn't know who she was. I also like is she who was it? Like I was like, oh, I don't know if was she actually in it. Like Jan, I'm like Jan's pretty cool. Like some of the other I don't
Oh,
remember.
Dennis?
No, no, Jan, right? This one, she left.
Jan?
Just someone just named
Oh, yeah,
Jan,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Okay,
she
I know what you're
left,
talking about.
and I was like, I didn't realize. Oh, that's another thing. Is like when I started looking some of this up, I'm like, oh, some people like, um, Mesa, Mesa. Towards the end, or somewhere, there's a part where she talks about like wanting, like kind of wanting to give up. But I guess somebody like was, I think somebody was like, oh, I look up to you, or whatever. So she decided not to give up. No matter how hard it is. But she left. I think eventually, like I guess after the documentary came out, she has
Mm-hmm.
since left. And I almost like it's funny because like the end kind of hints at a sequel. I kind of want to know more of these stories. Obviously, I could just go look them up, but I want them out of the people's out of for hearing from them. Um, but anyways, moving back.
If
Um,
if director Senpai is watching, please hook us up with those
part
part
two.
two details soon. I'm
So
really excited, especially if you're going to be making the second one. I'm really excited to see your work if you see this. So
so I'm not
thank you. I don't know how to say thank you, but thank you.
I'm not sure if it was a thematic choice, but I love how it started with a lot of the members going on about how they were having fun, how they were kind of like sort of becoming a family,
Oh my
and
god, yeah.
no, and then it kind of like all that gets derailed, kind of interestingly plot wise, because then they turned the Sherprong, and she's all like, oh yeah, like I don't remember the exact wording, but she's like, I don't think I don't really see them as family. They're just coworkers. I talk to them when I'm there. We could talk when we're there, but I'm not sure if like I like pretty much she had a nice wall around her, you know. I don't know if that was from day one or maybe because obviously these interviews took place like a year after their debut. I can only assume.
Mhm.
So it just was pretty interesting to note that she already had a nice little wall around her concerning her relationship with the other members.
Oh,
Hmm.
uh, R1 Sen 1 said there's no part two, but another doc coming out called Real Me, directed by someone else. So we are getting
Oh,
another BNK
oh.
doc,
So is
I
that what
think.
I think that's what she I think that's what somebody was mentioning in the chat earlier about Real Me, and I
Oh my
didn't.
god, everything makes sense.
Yeah, I can't scroll up anymore because I had to reopen it. But okay, yeah. So apparently there is a second doc. But going back to what I was saying, so the whole Sherprong thing, and so mind you, the story it's a documentary. It's not meant to have like um protagonist. Well, it definitely has protagonists. It's all the girls, but like I felt like that was almost like setting up to be like Sherprong being like this. I don't know what word to use. Like she's so far apart. She's like her own little like almost like, I don't want to say full of herself, but before anyone says like, no, she isn't. Before I go any further, partway through the documentary, there's a whole part where she breaks down crying about the stuff that she's given up, that the stuff she's been through, and how she doesn't get paid more than the other girls, and how she never asked for any of this, and it was just like, oh, humanizes even the person that like earlier I was kind of thinking like, oh, I don't know about
well, like in the end, they're all human, and they're all gonna see like like especially with Chaperone, she kind of felt like she was given all these opportunities without like actually feeling like she earned them. So she's kind of confused about like why is this happening to me? Why isn't it happening to some of the other girls and all that? But I think it's her leadership skills that give her that sort of like, advantage over everyone else, because she is very mature. Like, I think is she one of the oldest ones? I'm not too sure. I think she's like 20, 21, 22. I'm not sure at all. I don't know their ages well, but she has a tremendous leadership skills, and I didn't like at the beginning that like, they were kind of like, all the girls were kind of being like, I guess a little unfair towards Chaperone, because like I feel like the leaders suffer the most in the whole situation, because they have to work twice as hard to keep up an image. They have to practice twice as hard because they're always in the front, and like I think eventually one of them said like one won't understand the other without being in the other's shoes. And that's super true, and that just wrapped up like the whole, being super like like how Senbatsu is so unfair, and like it doesn't give everyone an opportunity. Like we don't know how they pick it, but in the end, none of the members will understand that all of those aspects until they're in those shoes, and then they're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe how hard. Like one day they'll be like, wow, I can't believe how hard like Chaperone worked being here, and finally experiencing that, and then I think one day MJ Chaperone would be like, wow, I can't believe how much the younger members struggled, and it's very refreshing just to see like both points of views like being so separate, and then they come together in the end just to be like, wow, we just don't understand each other at all, and don't understand the positions we're in. So yeah, I think it's deep. Like they get really deep in this doc.
It's just like I said, it's just so funny, like the things like the Mesa thing I mentioned. By the way, did you? I'm glad I stuck around because like during the credit sequence, I don't think you can call it doc a spoiler anyway, so I'm gonna say it anyway. And I think everyone who's watching in the chat definitely has seen it already. So during the credit sequence, I guess they have them watching some of their their debut, their audition videos. I mean to say. And so that was cool. So I was staying for that. I'm like, I gotta watch all these. Okay, I'm gonna watch all these. But then it has a very like Marvel-esque, like Marvel MCU-esque type post-credit scene, where it's all like the interview. They start interviewing a second gen member. And it's like, oh, so it is a to be continued, basically. Well, like that one ends like in a to be continued one, which is pretty. Which, funny enough, I think is the name of a documentary for AKB48. Funny enough, to be continued. But anyways.
Yeah. So, like, I think the ending was to basically imply, like,
the group goes on.
You can interpret this ending how you want. Like, at least there is a to be continued for the group. I think that's what the original, like, meaning of the ending was. Not just a part 2, but that the group is continuing and moving on, and they're gonna keep going forward with the second generation, and it'll just keep going on as they keep going, and yeah.
So
I don't know
mentions how
it's supposed to be #deep.
Oh, #deep. You should watch her speech in general election. I assume referring to we should watch Chaperone's speech. Funny enough, I was kicking around.
If you know an English subtitled one, I'll be happy to watch it. I've been struggling finding like a lot of English stuff.
Yeah,
for BNK48. I really want to watch all their stuff, but it's super hard being an English speaking fan and liking any group that's just foreign.
Well, it's hard, especially because like unlike some of our more cultured fans around the world, who we find people who still speak English. A lot of us don't speak the languages that they speak, unfortunately. But anyhow, we do our best. It's funny because the documentary showed at handshake events, which which looks so different to me because I'm not sure if the documentary just had weird editing and I was missing the actual handshake part, but a lot of it was just kind of like almost like a high five where you grab their hands. I'm not sure if there was also a translation issue, but I'm like it didn't seem um, it seemed a lot more personal than you would ever see at an AKB handshake event. For the record, I want to start by saying that, which looked very refreshing. It's like there was the barricade, of
Yeah,
course,
they
but
turn it into something like, just a personal, hey, good job, and you're doing good too, and it just felt more personal, real, and like not edited and scripted to be such in a bad light, and that it makes me happy. It makes me happy.
also I was kicking around the Wikipedia page because I was trying to find out what members had left. And also, once again, we were talking about Cake earlier. I was confused why Cake wasn't in the documentary, but then I found out she's second gen, and I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry, once
Yeah,
again.
Cake is second gen.
Yeah, once again, my fandom isn't at that good of a level. I apologize. But when I was kicking around their Wikipedia page, it mentions how their theater is haunted, and or it's reportedly haunted, and I'm like, what? And it's funny because I tried to Google that, and all I kept coming back to was that Wikipedia page. So if y'all, if any of
If
our
y'all know the real tea on the campus, please let me know.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's haunted or
if
not.
it's haunted or
It's
not,
something I can actually go visit.
I mean that sounds like an interesting performance nonetheless. Have like
Yeah, can you imagine like
have a
Halloween,
17th member.
No, can you imagine like when they perform like Halloween night and they have
Oh yeah,
like an actual ghost?
that would be great. But no, documentary was great. I'm trying to think of the other point I had. There was a couple others. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
There was one point I really want to discuss was how they talked about social media and creating like their own persona and how they struggle
Oh yes,
to create that person. That is one of my favorite topics out of the whole documentary. Like, it was so enjoyable.
I'm glad
like,
they showed that.
Relatable.
Yeah.
And it was relatable. That's what really got me. It was very, very relatable because in the overseas Western Idol community, we're very like kind of I don't want to say forward. I can't think of the right word for it, but we're very focused. Yeah, we're very focused on having our own like idol persona or how they say idol sona. So a lot of us try to create a faker version of ourselves, and it doesn't really represent who we are, and we don't feel comfortable being that way online. So like I don't know, it was just very relatable because I was kind of going through a time before this documentary where I'm like trying to be like, oh, super happy-go-lucky and all this happy, and I was like, and it just didn't feel right always being so fake.
It's funny.
And,
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, keep going. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna just mention a couple things. First of all, if anyone was watching from the very beginning, I actually didn't. It's funny because I assume that we have our normal like viewers here all the time, but we usually have three hosts. The bottom thing is usually another host. We just our original host couldn't show up on Friday. We were supposed to do this on Tuesday. Glad we rescheduled though because then the thing came out in between. But the person who was there was a picture of a girl named Heidi. She does idol activities in Japan, and she's also does a lot of stuff for us. She's been on our podcast several times, and even her, she'll admit it on the podcast. She has a very different persona when she's like on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she comes here, usually she's a lot more like different. Even me.
On stage she's very like happy, Genki, like super outgoing. But then when she comes on our podcast, she's like super chill, always like talking normal, not in a quinceañera voice and all that. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's more real. Not to say that she's fake. Heidi's cool and everything. Like there's a difference between having an idol personality and just being fake. And Heidi is definitely just like having an idol personality. But some of the girls in BNK48, they were mentioning how they were like just being fake, not being
really
themselves,
fake, yeah.
not being an extension of who they want to become, which is like a very important aspect for idols in general. Is when you have a character, you want it to have like characteristics and personality of someone you want to become. So like, let's say you're very like, shy and not so outgoing. Well, a good way to put it, to have like an idol persona, is to push yourself to become more sociable and more how do I say, yeah, just more sociable, more outgoing towards everyone. That right there is an idol persona. An idol persona is something you want to work on and improve on and become something that you want to become. Now some of the girls in BNK48, they were just being downright like fake. Like,
yeah.
I remember, I don't know who it was, but one of them was like, oh, I started being like a cool kind of like I don't want to say bitchy, but like bitchy sort of way. Like, she would post videos of like her being like, and like, just being all pouty and mad looking all the time, and she was like, I didn't like that. It felt wrong, and I just want to be myself. And it's so, and they just explained how it was so hard to keep up that kind of image that doesn't truly represent them.
Well, they said it on the documentary too, that like you can't really keep that up if it's not really you. You can't really keep it up forever. Like,
exactly,
the real you will start poking through no matter what you do.
Yeah, so there was, and then eventually towards the end of the documentary, some were like, well, I don't really care if I'm popular. I don't care if people don't like me for me. I'm still going to be me, and I think that's the most important. And they were like, that, I think that's more important than having the most fans, having the most followers, being in Senbatsu. I'm here to be me and do something I love, and that's it's so deep. It's so real, and it's just relatable to everyone. And even if you're not in the industry, if you're not in, if you're not being an idol, it's just relatable to everyone on an everyday basis, and that, it really just, it stuck with me, that kind of stuff, that kind of relatable stuff just sticks with you for like a good while, and just, I don't know, I really loved it. It was one of my favorite parts of the documentary.
It's I forgot what I was saying with that. It's I lost my train of thought there. Sorry, I got lost there too. It was just something that, don't get me wrong, other documentaries have shown like that kind of aspect for idols too, but it was just interesting to have it all displayed there, especially like you said, like that some of them were outright changing their characters to something that wasn't them. But also, I remember what I was gonna say now. So also there was a part towards the end, where, shoot, who is she? One of the younger looking members, one who was like not picked for any of the singles, where she was discussing how it's hard being always like amongst the bottom members, but she'll still strive to do her best, even though she's like one of the bottom members. And it's funny because you never really think about that kind of thing, like the members who are always at the bottom, for lack of a better,
for anything.
Yeah, but I mean, AKB48 definitely has them as well. Like every idol group has them. Even if they don't have this kind of system, like a voting, like a system where you actually get involved with the single. Every group will have, just by simple, what word is that? Just like simple statistics, which by the way I confused it with. Just by simple statistics, there will always be a least popular member, no matter how there's no way they're all going to be loved equally. So that was a very interesting thing to put out there. I thought it was a very important.
And that's another thing that I mentioned in my review, that it's still similar to like the AKB docs, but like a big thing that the AKB documentaries don't discuss is like the bottom members,
yes,
like, and how much they struggle. And because like most AKB docs, they struggle on like the Kami, or they focus more on the Kami 7. And not really, like, sometimes they'll drive off and they'll discuss, like, some of the bottom tier members, but no, the Girls Don't Cry really put a face for the under members.
I actually thought it was weird that I didn't see music nearly as much as I thought I would. I don't know if that...
I know, I'm sad.
I was actually, I actually, for a minute there, I thought she wasn't in the documentary until she was here and there.
No. the minute I saw her, I was like, oh my god, baby.
Yeah. So I
And then,
actually thought she
and then
wasn't
only
in
came back,
it.
like, 3 other times, and I
Yeah.
was really sad that they didn't feature her as much. But that's coming from Music Oshi. I'm gonna be biased towards her, so don't cut me, please.
Obviously, Shaprong was there a lot, but even Shaprong could have been there a lot more, but she wasn't. Um,
No, I think they gave her a fair amount, especially for where she stands in the group and popularity wise. They gave her a fair amount compared to the members that barely get any screen time at all in any BNK projects.
not.
So I don't know. I'm one that always stands for the underdogs, and even though I have a Oshi that's like super popular, I will always stand up for like the underdogs, and it was really amazing and important that a light was shown on the struggling members so we can better understand and maybe even be a little more sympathetic. Sympathetic. I can't pronounce things.
Sympathetic.
Sympathetic, yes. Be a little more sympathetic towards the
It's
members
fine.
that are struggling
We're all
currently.
mispronouncing things tonight. Um, so I think we'll move away from the movie for a second. I was just going to say about it real fast, and I already forgot what it was. But I remember now. It's not about the movie. Let's move away from the movie for. Actually, I think we're pretty much done there. It was a great movie. Everyone go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. It's on Netflix.
I'm pretty sure
We'll leave a
everyone.
link to the Netflix
Yeah.
link down below. If you are struggling to watch it, get a VPN. Maybe
Yeah.
if you DM me on at Milky Kitty Chew on Twitter, I will hook you up
And
with a VPN and tell you all the deets for it.
so
If not, if you are one of the countries that can watch it, please watch it. Give it a nice thumbs up on the
Yeah.
Netflix thing, so that way the algorithm can bump it up and everyone else can watch it that doesn't really have to type it in and find it.
but can
yeah.
we talk about Shaprong's action figure though?
Oh my god, no one helped me get it. I seriously had the money for it and I was gonna get it, but no one legit wanted to help me and I was so sad. I want the Shoptime figure. Like, if anyone is selling one, please.
Yeah, sell it
Thank
to her
you.
for give her quite the
Saliha,
markup.
please.
Um. Oh wow, this is a DVD version with 5 hours of unseen footage. That's a lot
Someone's gonna have
of
to hook me up with that too.
that's a
Well,
lot of footage.
I'm heading to Hong Kong, in a couple of days. If someone wants to hook me up with like a location to where I can possibly buy it, because like Thailand's not that far.
Are you gonna like hop from Hong Kong to Thailand? Anyhow, but no, there's the figure. Shaprong has an action figure, or is it an action figure or just a statue? I'm calling it an action figure might be a misnomer, but she definitely has a figure. I think it's just a standing figure. I don't know why I said action figure. It'd be awesome if she had an action figure, though. I want all idols to have action figures, and I could have my little
Yeah.
GI Joe battles with Shaprong and music, and find out which one of them is really. I'm just kidding.
No, but I do want the Shoptime figure. If anyone wants to actually hook me up with one, thank you, please, thank you, if you can, because I really want it. I have a small little idol figure collection up here. So if you want to help me out to my collection, thank you so
Oh
much.
my god. But before we leave being, I think we have to just trail over the rest real fast. By the way, for those of you tuning in who tuned in for all of our Girls Don't Cry stuff, we actually were gonna, mind you, we did intend to stop for BNK for a bigger chunk than usual, but we want to talk about all the 48 sister groups and how they all play into the bigger idol picture.
Yes.
Not sister groups, overseas sister groups. But I do want to talk a bit about how BNK, when they were at Senbatsu this year, and by Senbatsu I mean so Sekio
Like
Senbatsu, the
AKB.
AKB, yeah, AKB still, I can't say the word. And I know for a fact, obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but let's be real, obviously, it was Sherprong and Music who placed within the top 100, and obviously Sherprong placed above Music, not too far though. I think it was it was within a few numbers that I was able to watch from one to the next, and not have lost track of what I was watching. But
Guys, I cried. I actually cried
Yeah,
when they were like BNK48. I was like, oh my god, no way.
we
Mind you, I was staying at my boyfriend's parents' place. I was doing some, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh my god, announced BNK who was it gonna be, and they said music, and I was like, oh my god! And I literally just started loud bawling to the point where, my boyfriend's mom came up and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes." I was having issues right now. Not really issues, but like I don't know. I was really happy that music got placed, and then she actually went to Japan, and she went back to Japan to do the filming for the music video that coincided with her place and everything. Same with Chaprang too. I was really excited.
Were
for
they
Chaprang,
both in
but,
the
like,
same in the same group? I forget. They were kind
No,
of.
Chaprang was a group above music.
Oh, okay. Because the numbers were close, but I wasn't paying attention too well, like what their groupings were. But yeah, interesting.
I don't know, but to the Thai fans, we did it. Thank you for helping music rank super high. I think it's high for her. So, and
Yeah.
same with Sharprang. Thank y'all, Sharprang fans. We did a good job. Hopefully, if AKB does another World Senbatsu, we can help them go higher. So please vote for Sharprang and music, especially music.
But so BNK48, I don't know. I almost feel weird moving away from this topic now. We have so many viewers, and I'm sure tuning in to talk about BNK.
Yeah, I hope y'all don't mind that we discuss other groups, but hopefully we could come back to BNK48 real quick just to round everything out, because BNK is actually one of a favorite A to J group currently.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, for those of you who didn't tune in earlier when we first mentioned it, but BNK48 were first announced, I don't know the exact date, but it was sometime in 2016, and they were announced alongside with TPE48 and MNL48, Taipei and Manila respectively. Now, we made this funny little joke earlier about how, at least in my case, I didn't really focus on BNK too much, for a weird reason, because they were doing okay. Like they at the time, like I don't want to say that there was nothing like good or bad. Like there was definitely good, but there was nothing really to really pay attention to.
There was something juicy.
Yeah, except that they were going along. But TPE was struggling in a weird way that was like, what's wrong with them? And then of course they fizzled out big time. And then on the other side, you had MNL48, who we're talking about next, by the way. On the other side, you had MNL48 from Manila, who had
they were a hot mess.
They were a mess. Now, I don't want to compare them for any other reason except that they're both sister groups. But I said this earlier that when BNK48 like started like their meteoric rise as far as the overseas idol groups are concerned, it felt very similar to JKT48, the Jakarta Indonesian group, because they had a similar level of popularity as well as a similar level of quality. Not to be unfair to any other group, but they were really put together very well, BNK. But MNL was just a mess. Their audition process was about a year long. They had a TV show.
It was a year and a half long, actually.
Yeah. And like I was wondering if they were ever going to debut. And you remember earlier when I kind of praised BNK for kind of grasping some of the idol culture? You didn't get that so much for MNL.
You got a lot of confusion.
You got people
about idols in general. Like there was a lot of girls thinking this was like a K-pop group, or just comparing or like saying like, oh, Twice is my favorite idol group, and I'm like, oh honey, sweetie,
like
you okay?
There was the member from BNK48 who mentioned she was like in that K-pop like group, the dance group or whatever they were. I'm not sure how popular K-pop is in Thailand, but I'm very.
It's popular everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. It's popular here. It's like it. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, K-pop is very popular here in the United States.
Let's not get into that because it's been infiltrating. I can't even infiltrating. I'm like lisping like all hell now. It's infiltrating even like A to J, like our own members. But that's a whole other story. But I don't know. Like there was a lot more of a mess with MNL48. And then they debuted, and they also had similar like Did they debut with Korsita Fortune Cookie? I know they had one.
No, they debuted with Aitakata, just like every other basic overseas 48 group. Anyways, yes, they debuted with Aitakata.
Because SNH debuted with River, but was it River? But they debuted with something else. It wasn't Aitakata. Anyways, go on.
They had Aitakata in their single lineup. Anyway, Well, anyways, yeah, they started off with Aitakata or Gusto Manika. I can't pronounce things in Filipino, so
Tagalog.
Please forgive
Tagalog.
me. Tagalog. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not good with the Philippines. My friend Julianne is she's actually like not like technically from there. Anyways, they debuted with that. It was a really bad video. I'm putting it out there now. Like production wise, it was kind of bad. I mean, it was the setup and like the outfits, like everything was fine. But I'm talking about like the video quality. Was very questionable.
We used to have a segment on this very podcast, but a long time ago. We used to have the podcast was actually structured a lot differently back in the day. We had several segments. So BNK members are K-pop fans. It was pretty interesting that I didn't hear that mentioned.
Oh no.
If it shows through, I mean, if that's true for all the members, it definitely doesn't show through. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
To be totally fair, I'm pretty sure a lot of AKB48 members are fans of K-pop too. Before we go.
Oh no, they are.
But MNL48, I don't want to speak too ill of them because I was going to say we had a podcast segment back in the day called WTF MNL48 where we just discussed the current nonsense that was going on with them that week.
Well, because like every week just something insane would just happen with them, where like especially with Eunice, or I don't know if anyone remembers.
Oh, Eunice! I forgot about Eunice.
Oh my god, the Universe. It's so bad. I don't know. I just wanted to say.
Yeah,
that.
You know what? I don't want to speak any more ill of that because we did a lot of that back in the day. But yeah.
No, there's a lot of like just questionable, not okay things
and
that were like we just wonder if they were even okay in the beginning. But no, I think now MNL is doing really good.
Yeah.
Like, really
we attracted a lot of attention on YouTube for that segment for a while. People were like, stop reporting on them. All you do is you rag on them. And we were. And to be honest, that's actually why I retired it. Because it got to the point where even I was getting tired of like finding things negative to say about them. I'm like, can we just have a good one for once? I guess not. So we just stop entirely. Anyways, they're doing better. They're doing better now. If you're watching on YouTube, don't worry, guys. They're doing a lot better now. We'll leave it at that. You can go ahead.
I think their most recent. I don't know what their most recent song is. I think it was Koditsu Fortune Cookie, or they recently did a music video, and oh no, it was Pada Sukoi maybe. I think that's how it's which is Iwake maybe. That video was so good. Like the song, it was translated really nicely. I really loved the video. Like they really upped their game for Pada Sukoi maybe.
So
have you watched it, Manuel?
I have. It's good.
It was super good, right?
I like that song too because it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorites of the older generation AKB48 songs. So it's good. The production value is good. So hopefully we haven't spoke too much ill and we can redeem ourselves a little. Because the last time we talked about MNL48.
They've been doing like a lot of like mall events, like where they go to like different malls around the Philippines, and then they promote like their most recent, I think it's their most recent single, which is Koditsu the Fortune Cookie, which is Pada Ibang Fortune Cookie. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't pronounce Tagalog or Thai or Chinese or anything like that.
You can barely pronounce English.
Right. I can't even pronounce English. Yes, you're right. But no, they do a lot of like mall events now, and they're still getting like TV slot times and No, I really like I like the direction MNL is going right now, and I can actually praise them for that. They've definitely improved since like the beginning of auditions, and they actually know what they're doing. I hope to see a lot more from MNL48. I really want to.
And I remember also when Kimowa Melody came out. That was about the time, and I was like, I think that was when I thought that came out for MNL48, more or less. And I remember it was just a very interesting juxtaposition because it's like here's MNL, doing MNL, and here's BNK looking like really To be fair, BNK had already been around for a while by that point, but still MNL had all that time to prepare, and they were still like they were very very green, and by green I mean very untrained and like fresh. But moving on, I don't want to I don't want to leave on any more ill thing and just going on that relegation.
MNL is good.
They're
you should
good.
check them out. They're doing really, really good now, and I'm really proud of them and the direction they're going. So they support MNL. I really like Franz. Franz is my favorite MNL Ushi.
So the next three, before we start wrapping it up, and we'll come back to BNK though, but the next three, I think we're gonna have somewhat rapid fire because not too much to say about them except for some of our favorite members. I feel because they've done stuff, but not only are they new, but they haven't done a lot yet. First is Team SH, which by the way is AKB48
yes.
Team Shanghai, which, not to confuse anyone, they're another Shanghai 48 group that is not in any way related to SNH48.
They're not under the same management. They're the management they're technically under is called AKB48 China.
Yeah.
So don't confuse them with SNH48, but they are based in Shanghai, and they before they were like established as like the group they are now. There was two members that they already selected, and they went on the Chinese version of Produce, which is like the K-pop Produce 101. Yeah, it was like that K-pop survival talent show or whatever. And I think I think those two members got really far, and then I think they were eliminated. I'm not too sure. I don't know how that show works, but yeah, they got a lot of notoriety from it, and then they debuted at an event that AKB was guesting at, and then their first single was Love Trip, and which is actually it's actually one of my favorite translated 48 group songs right now. It's Love Trip by Team SH. And yeah,
it's
right
funny
now, and they're...
Oh, go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. It's funny. I was gonna say something else. But go ahead.
Oh, so right now they do have some of their members. Well, not some of their members. Actually, none of the members have like social media or anything. They do have Weibos, like I think it's Weibo, right?
Weibo.
Is the Chinese?
Weibo.
Yeah, it's like Weibo. Okay.
It's funny because I say Weibo too, but it's Weibo. Yeah.
And then as a whole, like Team SH, they have an Instagram. I follow their Instagram mostly.
Yeah.
But right now they are gearing up for like a fan meet, and then I think they're gonna announce their second single soon. I'm not too sure, or they already have. I can look at it right now.
Real fast, I think somebody mentioned that. I guess they're talking about MNL48 that they announced their third single, but they don't know what the song is yet. Just to jump back to some of the news we got in the chat, because I don't really follow MNL that closely. SH though, it's funny because I mentioned the SNH48 thing. Once again, it sounds confusing. Sorry, because it is confusing.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because
they do have a second single coming out. It's No Way Man.
Oh really? That's an interesting choice.
Right, but it's a very recent song from AKB too.
But I was talking to Konar about this. We actually weren't going to discuss it, and I'm not going to show a picture for it. I'm going to just say it. Now, remember how we left SNH48 by themselves a while back, a while back ago, and we just left them as they were? And one of the reasons that they kind of split was because they were doing the Guangzhou and the Beijing thing. Well, they did those. But since then, they've also added two more. Shenyang, and I can't remember the other place was, Chongqing, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So now there are 5 China 48 groups. I don't know what you'd even call that because they're not 48G, but there's 5 of them. SNH is still the kind of like the biggest of them all, and they're very active. And I just find that so crazy that like China has a 48 structure already, a very big one. And I just find it interesting that Team SH is moving in there again. Obviously, they're still... I think they're going to do really good. I think they're going to do good this time around, though. I have really high hopes. My favorite member is Shenyin, the one with the glasses. Oh, yeah.
Super cute. I love Shenyin.
Speaking of which... Go ahead.
She's my phone background.
Oh, is she?
Now. sorry, music fans, but I really like Shenyang too. So she's currently my phone background. If you have a good picture of music that you want to recommend to me to use as my phone background, just at Milky Kitty Chew on Twitter. Recommend me your music picks, and maybe I'll pick something.
So, I was gonna say about the glasses. There was a girl on the BNK documentary. I forget her name now. She has glasses, and I was like, oh, I like her glasses. She's really cute. I forget her name. Do you know what I'm talking about? She has glasses. I don't know. Anyone knows on the chat? One of the Thai.
No, I don't.
I don't know.
I know who you're talking about.
I don't know if she
remember her name.
normally has glasses, but I don't think I ever noticed anyone who had glasses before. So it threw me for a loop because I'm like, I don't think I noticed anyone having them when they're performing. Maybe that's why, because glasses will fly off. But she had them in the documentary, and I was just like, I'm like, oh look, I didn't know one of them had glasses. Anyway, but yeah, Team SH. I wonder how they're gonna progress because they exist where there's already another huge bunch of 48 groups. Next one is SGO 48, which is Saigon 48.
Everything's gonna be Casey.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually didn't know they like debuted already until literally before we did this podcast. I knew that they were a thing, but they're, to me, the definition of the group that like I just feel like I can't really follow them as easily. BNK is so accessible.
Oh,
SH,
I think the member you're talking about in BNK, was it Namsai?
It is Namsai. Yes, thank you.
What would I pronounce it? I sounded like I pronounced it right. I felt really good.
No,
right there.
and I remembered it too now because much like Nink, who I didn't know of before really that well, I'm like I kept seeing Namsai's name and I'm like, oh, I gotta remember her. Those are my two takeaways from that documentary, but Nink far more so. As like my current like Oshi types for BNK, but anyhow, but yeah, SGO 48, they debuted, but they're very new. Out of all the groups we're talking about, I think they're like the
newest.
Yeah,
they're like the most recent debuted group.
Yeah, even though there's one more that was announced after, but yeah, they're the most recent.
There's very little like info on them too, because like I usually try to look up like all the 48 groups and everything just to like keep up, not all the like the overseas 48 groups, just to like keep up with them and see how they're doing. And the only like stuff the only SGO videos I found were like the Group Asia Festival ones, and like a couple like small event ones. Other than that, I haven't seen them doing much. They were recently in a magazine for some, I don't know what it was, but they were discussing like, you know, SGO 48 and it had KC on there, so I was like, yes, everything's gonna be KC.
No, it was just it was funny because I actually forgot about them until you brought them up before we started the podcast. I'm like, oh my god, SGO, I forgot about them. I better like add them in my head or to this list. Yeah, I legitimately forgot about them.
That just tells how much I keep up with like the overseas 48 groups, because like I keep up with them more than I do with like the regular 48 groups.
So anyhow, actually there's one more too that I forgot, but anyway, there's Team TP, which is Team 40, it was just Team 48, which is AKB48 Taiwan, like TPE 48 again, but now they're called Team TP. I think these are because of the confusion that might be caused, because if I'm not mistaken, the group that did TPE 48 was technically independent, and I think they might still have the license in theory. If they somehow got their things together, they could like also bust an SNH and just create a rival, but I think they're in no shape to do so. So I think that's also, and also I think there's to put some solidarity behind their Chinese groups. Also to probably take away the confusion about the SNH thing some more. But Team TP, they're really cool. They debuted as well. I know a bit more about them, but not too much once again because they kind of fell off my radar. SH, I keep waiting. I keep waiting for them both to show up. Go ahead.
I like Honda Yuzuka from Team TP. I have a favorite for everyone. I'm not lying.
Huh.
And yeah, no, they also do have their own Instagrams as well for Team TP. So you can just look up like, you can type in like Team TP and like all of their accounts will come out. And,
I'm gonna follow all of
Yeah,
them.
I see a lot of like second gen members or first gen. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think
there's some with like the orange. There's some with the orange outfit, and then there's some with just like the T-shirt. I'm kind of confused. I have not kept up with Team TP for a while, but yeah, I really like Hanbei Yusuka. She's like she's half Japanese, so
I'm pretty sure
but
someone.
I think, huh?
Oh, I'm pretty sure someone's gonna correct me on this, but I think similar to like when BNK, like when they pick their Senbatsu members, I'm pretty sure that the ones that are in T-shirts are just the members who aren't involved in their most recent single or I think that like they only had one single if I'm not mistaken, or if they even released it yet. Um, but they're the ones who aren't on it. They were picked at the same time
Mm-hmm.
though. I think I might be wrong. Someone's gonna correct me. Someone's like, oh, you don't know anything about Team TP, which I kind of don't, but I did follow it for a bit. So anyhow, I will follow them all now.
Also,
Like on Instagram.
there is a member named Koharu, so I'm like, I started following her right now. Because if you don't know me, my Kamiyoshi of like, out of like the whole entire idol industry is Koharu Kusumi from Morning Musume. So I automatically just started following her now, so yay, go Koharu.
And the very last one to discuss is MUM48.
Mum.
Mum's the word on MUM48.
Mum's the word.
They were announced. They were announced at a similar time with the other three, which is kind of
They were announced
blazed
on
through,
a showroom live.
Oh, they
which
were?
is funny. Yeah, they were announced on a showroom live.
So where is what is it short for?
Mumbai?
Yeah,
Think
is
so?
that India? India?
Yeah, it's India. No,
Okay.
I know this is an Indian group.
Okay, I was about to say, like, is this the UAE or something like that? No, it's India. I'm thinking about Dubai. Oh, that's what I did. Remember that one time when I kept saying Mumbai, but I was saying the UAE, the United Arab Emirates or whatever, and I kept referring to them?
Oh my God.
And obviously I was talking about...
Remember that.
No, mind you, I corrected it before I uploaded it to YouTube, because I realized my mistake. I think we were still live, but like as we were moving on topics, I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. I did it again almost right now. But yeah, so... Mumbai, India, and we'll see if that goes anywhere. I don't think it will, because it definitely hasn't. And
Oh, Mumbai. Yeah, Mumbai.
yeah, Dad 48, DAD 48. Is
Dad
that
48.
is that an
Wait.
actual? Yeah, is that an actual group?
There is an Oji-san 48.
There is
that
an
used to exist
yeah.
a long time ago, and it was filled with like cute little old grandpas. But I want to see Dad 48. I want to see Dad 48 happen.
Yeah.
I want really smoking hot dads.
I'm confused if you actually mean Dad or if there's a city that's sort of DAD that I just don't know. Like I don't know, Dadson. I'm making up cities. I don't know. Don't listen to me. But Dadson. Did I actually say that? Anyway, let us know if that's a thing. But Dad 48, I would love that. Oh, I'm so stupid. They're making a joke on Mum. Anyway.
Oh,
I mean, so they're gonna say it. They're gonna notice it in a second, then point it out. Like I don't know. Like see, it came to me on my own. Don't worry. I'm gonna see the chat in a second. It came to me on my own. But see, I don't think I've ever called my mom Mum. That's more of a European thing, or it's more of an anywhere but here thing. Because I don't think it's even European.
Yeah,
it's like anywhere but here. But here being the U.S.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, Dad 48. I would love to see that. You see, you get all the dads of the idols, and I think some of them are famous for things too. I was gonna say some, but I can't remember off the top of my head. That'd be an interesting group. Anyway, oh, do you know we're like wrapping up nicely on time? Believe it or not, I actually thought this was gonna be a short episode. I didn't think we'd be able to cover everything. We kind of
We
blazed.
talked a lot about BNK48.
Well, I intended to. Once again, I actually was literally, even though I had all this queued up, literally minutes before we were going to go live, I was like, "Hey, let's just throw the whole thing out and talk about just BNK." Part of me wishes we had though. But anyways, I'm glad we did this.
It's okay.
I really wanted to talk about all the groups. Some of them we barely touched upon. If you missed the first half, please go to our YouTube channel and watch the first half.
So the real question is, where is the next 48 group going to be?
I know. If anyone is watching to the end on YouTube, let us know in the comments below. All y'all in the chat can let us know in the chat. Everyone's been commenting on commenting. I'm gonna put the Heidi thing back on just because it's we're not really covering the group anymore. That's Heidi, by the way. But anyways, we're gonna pretend she's our host again. What was I getting at here? Oh yeah, everyone keeps saying that there's gonna be a Mexico one. I don't know if that's true. Actually, I should put AKB up. Sorry, Heidi.
Well, right now, Adi Ama Ana is filming a novella in Mexico. So, and she went to Peru right before I went to Peru,
Rip.
and I think they were filming an episode, or they were there for like some award show, and I missed her by a week. I was so upset. And now I see her like if I go on Twitter, I see like a whole bunch of like Mexican fans taking pictures with Iriama Ana, and I'm like super jelly.
I don't know if it would fly in Mexico per se, but like if it flew in Mexico, I think that there should also be a Brazil one because Brazil is such a huge Japanese population. If we are gonna do anywhere else overseas,
Oh yeah,
but I think both of
I
those are pretty far shots. I'll be real. Um,
I don't know.
all
They covered all of Asia, and now they're slowly getting into like well,
yeah,
India's Asia. So
I'm
just kidding.
yeah. It's like the only thing I can think they can really do now is there is something of a presence in Dubai, which, by the way, the United Arab Emirates. Because I do know that they opened a Maydream there, which is a maid cafe, a Japanese maid cafe.
Oh yeah, I
So
remember
they
that.
opened a Maydreaming in Dubai, not to be confused with Mumbai, Dubai. So me, I think to be totally fair with myself, and I only remember this right now. To be totally fair with myself, I think that happened around the time when I kept confusing them on the podcast like a year and a half ago. So that might have been why I was really confused in my head. So I do think if you're gonna go anywhere else, if you want to keep it expanding into new areas of Asia, that might be something to look into. Other than that, I
Hmm.
think you could only really go further within when you're already at. Like have another team. Oh, that sounds like a terrible name. It's terrible in English. I don't know if that translates well in in other languages, but Team BJ, like for Beijing, um, that's terrible. Don't do that though, because people like me included. I'm sorry. I'm if you don't know what that means and you're one of our fans, you know who might not be too familiar. I think it would still translate because English culture, you know, American culture would still like teach you what that is. Unfortunately, we shouldn't know what that or mine shouldn't go there. But unless you want like another Beijing group, another Guangzhou group, another what's another city in Taiwan? I can't think of any off the top of my head, not on the spot. You know, another city in Bangkok, another city in Thailand. Sorry, Bangkok is a city. Another
Yeah, they
city in
can
Thailand.
definitely. I want to. You know what I want to see? Hong Kong.
Oh yeah. I guess that's actually a very obvious one, like a Hong Kong 48. Maybe that would be like Kowloon something like
Yeah,
KWN, like Kowloon 48 or
I think that would be their next spot. Would be
Macau 48. We could just keep going. But Hong Kong is probably the most obvious one. I don't know why I think about that right off the top of my head, but yeah,
well,
Macau,
I'm
Hong
going to
Kong.
Hong
I
Kong
know.
like next week. So I was like, what about Hong Kong? Because I remember AKB used to have a Hong Kong store, like AKB48 Cafe
Oh.
shop in Hong Kong, and I was like so hyped because I was like, oh yeah, I get to go see it, and then like I found out they closed it down, which is super sad.
Somebody laughing up my. To be fair, I didn't mean that to actually say that. I started saying it, and as I was saying it out loud, I'm like, oh, I can't say Team BJ. Like that's just wrong. um. So, but I don't know BG. I don't know what else you call it, but like I was just trying to say like Beijing, but um anyhow, so we'll leave it there. We'll come back to all these topics more another date. I do want to talk more about I want to do a whole episode on BNK one day, especially when we have our. I mentioned this at some point in passing, but we usually do have three hosts. And if anyone ever wants to watch us live again, we're usually live on Tuesdays, not Fridays. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. We only are live this Friday because when Tuesday rolled around, I had problems with my internet and I wasn't able to stream us confidently. I'm glad nothing happened tonight, but I wasn't able to stream us
Oh
confidently.
yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't able to stream us confidently, so I didn't, and I rescheduled. And once again, it's kind of a good thing we did because then the whole thing happened with our review, and that was pretty awesome. But um usually we're on Tuesdays. I do want to do a full BNK episode because there's another host of ours who's on regularly who's a huge fan as well, like similar to Konaru, but she wasn't able to make it tonight to the reschedule. So maybe we'll have her on and we'll talk about our favorite members and our favorite songs and we'll show some clips and things like that. I The only reason I didn't tonight is because I figured we had so much to cover because we were going to cover all the other groups. I didn't want to have to queue up hundreds of things. So
yeah.
anyhow, so yeah, we'll leave it at there. if you want to catch us live again, I won't give us our other news topics because, to be honest, I don't have them written down. I don't want to start thinking them up. But catch us, and the next episode's really soon. Catch us on Tuesday. I'm not sure of the topic yet. We might do that. We might do it on BNK, to be honest. But catch us on Tuesday.
I might not be here because I'm traveling.
Oh.
Wait, no. Next week? No, just kidding. I will be here next week.
So it probably will be on BNK because I want to do this when you're here because we do some other weird episodes for the next couple weeks. I don't want to beat a dead horse and do another episode on BNK, but I think there's a lot more to cover about the group in general. And especially
we're really big fans of like BNK, and like I can talk about them for hours.
Yeah, and especially
it is sad because like I don't really have anyone else to discuss BNK48 with because like not that many Western fans. They only know AKB because of like Produce 48 and all that, so they only know like some AKB members and that's it. They don't really follow the rest of the other sister groups outside of Japan. So if y'all want, if you speak English and want to talk about BNK with me, that'd be super fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really want people to talk about like BNK48 with me because it's super lonely here in the United States. There's not that many BNK fans. But I'm one of the rare few. Manuel's one of the rare few. Our other co-host that's not here is one of the rare few.
I think we're pretty much the only ones that I personally know of, to be honest.
I feel like we're the only ones.
Yeah. But keep an eye on us on Twitter for sure. We'll update always what our podcast topics are. If you're watching us on Twitch, obviously. Only reason I said obviously because I realized, of course you are. Like if you're watching us, actually you'd be on YouTube too, but if you're watching us on Twitch right here, follow us on Twitch, and go to our schedule. And I try to keep it updated. At the very least, I keep the video updated. If I don't keep the actual schedule of the events, the video will have the next episode. It'll be when it's on, and we try to get those done on the Friday before. I know today's Friday, so we got to plan soon. Usually by the Friday, we'll have next week's thing lined up, a guest and a topic. So that's it. Catch us on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard. If you can't, awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're on YouTube, comment below, leave us all this talk. We love talking to people. Just talk to us on anything. If you talk to us on Twitter, talk to us on Twitter. Like Konaru said, I promise you someone will reply. If Konaru might use her own thing, usually I'm the one who's doing the A to J official Twitter. Also, Konaru uses it. We have other people who use it too, but usually it's me. Like 80% of the time, it's me. So if you see someone replying from the A to J Twitter, it's me. So usually, so talk to us. I would love to talk to anyone about anything, just because I like to talk.
I want to talk to you about BNK48.
Yeah, but BNK48 especially because it's really hard. It's usually just the three of us. The third one not actually being here tonight. Usually the three of us just talking about it, and everyone's like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about BNK again for?" So anyhow, on that lovely note, have a nice night, everyone. Catch us on all of our stuff. Follow us everywhere if you can. If you don't want to, it's awesome. Shout out. Oh, also we have a Patreon. I'm only saying that really because we shout out our patrons every podcast. But if you want to support us on Patreon, if you like what we do in general, toss us $1 our way. Patreon.com/A2J-Connections. There'll be a link to everything below.
You can also access our Discord right now.
Yeah.
If you just hit us up on A2J info on Twitter, and we'll hook you up with the link so you can join us. Maybe we can talk more about BNK48 in our Discord. And if you join our Patreon, we can give you exclusive roles that are on our Discord. There is a lot of cute roles, actually. I created these roles. There's one called Auditiony, Kenkisei, Oshi, and Kami Oshi. So depending on how much you donate, you can get one of those roles. Kami Oshi, of course, being the highest, Auditiony being the lowest. So please donate to our Patreon so you can get some really awesome Discord roles.
Please do that too. Shout out to Ed and Kenneth. If you can't donate, then just talk to us, watch our stuff. I don't really, that's just as good. But if you can't help us out, do that too. Anyhow, have a nice night, everyone. Thanks everyone for joining us on this very last minute podcast. Thank you, everyone. Good night, and thank you all for watching. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.